Let's get started. I see Rohit is there. Hi, Rohit. So good to have you here amongst us. So everybody can see my screen. Okay, perfect. So yeah, my intention for this session was, all that I've learned in Bali and everything. I just wanted to share the learnings and insights, and also kind of give in like, the sessions will be changing and evolving a little bit. So how will that impact? Um, so, I've shared about myself and my journey in the past. I've always been very spiritual and connect to spirit very easily. But when I went to Bali, for me, Bali experience was all the embodied experience in my body, physical body, and I understood breath through the nervous system, and it was a physical embodiment experience. So, and we've discussed this in the past that our emotions, live in our body. How we feel, any suppressed emotions, we store it in our body, and if they are not processed, they act out in our lives in different ways. But through breath work, so breath work is a tool that allows all that unconscious or subconscious stuff that is stored in our nervous system come up to the surface, and that's what I'll share a little bit. So think about this class as a master class to understand how does a nervous system act, and maybe this information might be new for someone, and maybe it's not so new for someone. So just take what resonates and leave the rest. Just to start with, why does all of this information matters? Why do we even need to understand nervous system mastery, right? The thing is that we are energetic beings, right? So we are always surrounded. We are always picking up signals from our environment, right? So everything that is going on in the world, in the environment, there are fears about economy, there is fears about tech layoffs, a lot of uncertainty, war, or AI is evolving, and this will happen and that will happen. So a lot is going on in a world today, right? And though we may think that it's not impacting me personally, I don't care and I'm fine, but we are still energetic beings, and we are picking up on these signals from our environment, and our nervous system gets impacted. So the thing is that when we are not regulated within, then we will get so easily influenced by the world. The environment, the stuff outside in the world will influence us, and we will be derailed and live in the fight or flight state, right? So that's that's the reason why. And on top of all that is going on in the world, we are bombarded with information, right? Now that AI is here, the data that is being produced is so much that our nervous system is handling so much more data. So think about what is our nervous system handling, right? All the TV, like talk about the news, the Netflix, the shows, the movies, right? The computer stuff that we work on, everything that you're doing for work or off work, all the cell phone stuff, all the texting, memes, all the reels, the social media, photos you're taking, videos, the apps, the music, the podcast, you name it. This is all data input for your nervous system. And on top of it, there's a lot of invisible data like 3G, 5G, the Wi-Fi, that is also impacting your nervous system, which you might not be aware of. And so there's non-stop stream of information that you're bombarded with. And every little thing is demanding for your attention right now. And this is all handled by your nervous system. So, they say that, so information scientists put this information together, and there was this research study done that the amount of data, it's not only on our phones, but the amount of total data that our nervous system is collecting or consuming daily is around, if you have to put it together in numbers, it's around 12 hours of information daily, which equates to 674 GB of data, which can equate to, like, if you have to sit and watch 16 Netflix movies in a one sitting, And so it's overwhelming amount of information that our brain and our nervous system has to handle. And they say, like, the amount of information, so that's the amount of information our nervous system is handling, right? So And they say that the information scientists were putting together the report that I was looking at. They said that 500 years ago, a very intelligent person would have processed this much amount of data in just one day. In one lifetime, sorry, not in one day, in lifetime. This is how much we are consuming daily. But 500 years ago, one person would process this much amount of data that we are processing in one day in an entire lifetime. That simple life was, right, back then. And the thing is that our nervous system is not built to handle so much. So what happens is when we, especially coming from Bali, I was in Bali there, and the world is totally different. I was in Ubud. It's lush green. Life is much more simpler and slower, and there's so much more focus on health and wellness. That when I came here, my nervous system was really out of whack because I could just sense so much more, and also I realized that, like, I would be in crowded places and everything. I could realize that people are living in chronic stress all the time, and we don't realize it because it's part of our daily lifestyle now. So when our nervous system is bombarded with too much information and too much stuff and all that busyness, and that is prolonged over a period of time and it doesn't get a break or reset, it becomes your new norm. And that is your new norm is now operating on that frequency. So recharging our batteries in whatever ways, is very important on a regular basis. And if we do not give ourselves some downtime, then our nervous system is operating on that like full throttle. So think about it. Your car is driving with the brakes on. There's no fuel with the brakes on and you're trying to push it. So that's how it feels like over the period of time where we are just living in an overstimulated world, right? So, and this chronic activation of the nervous system all the time eventually leads to exhaustion, physical exhaustion, then mental exhaustion, and then it starts slowly impacting your health and other things. So, and in general, that trickles down into your relationships and your life and other things. So that's why my intention is like why we need, especially here in the Bay Area, with the kind of lifestyles that we're leading, right? Always surrounded working on with technology and everything. So let's look into the nervous system a little bit, and I just wanted to share from the perspective that our nervous system is the operating system of our life, so think about it, that everything that you're experiencing in your life, your brain is perceiving that reality and sending signals to your brain, and your brain is interpreting based on your past conditioning, past stuff that you have. So it's assessing your environment 24/7 and seeing if you're in a safe space or is it a threat. So it's always assessing that. It's constantly doing that, whether you are doing it consciously, whether you're conscious of it or not. So when the nervous system is dysregulated, even a positive experience will feel overwhelming. Even a small remark from your husband will be triggering, or a small email from someone will be like explosive. But if your nervous system is regulated, then no matter what life throws at you, it will be easier for you to navigate. You will be able to, get over things. There won't be any reactivity. So anytime we have to face reactivity from life, it means there is something unresolved within us, that, and the universe is here giving us that so that it's an opportunity for us to resolve it. So that reactivity says that there is unresolved stuff within us. And why I'm saying this is, sometimes what happens is like there's the same situation. Two people are going through the same situation, but one person may react to the same situation in a very positive way, or the other person may look at the same situation from a very different lens. And that's because their nervous systems are in a different state, right? Their nervous system process that data differently. Somebody is going through something, their brain is sending up chemicals that this is not safe, this is a threat, this is this, blah, blah, blah. So let's look into this. So there are two modes of your nervous system. There is a sympathetic and then there is parasympathetic. So sympathetic is when your when your brain gives signals to your body that there is a threat, you are under attack. And it could be It could be a smirk from a friend at a party and she was really mean to you or something, and you make up those stories. She's this, there is this going on, blah, 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 I'm under attack. Or there is an email that comes from someone, right? So, and then a customer escalation, then your body is under attack. But the thing is that our brains are limbic. The brains are limbic, which means we have animalistic brains. So our brains are still very primitive. They still function when a sympathetic activation happens. They still function like we are in a life danger situation. It is life threatening. You are attacked by a lion or a tiger or something. So your boss may be harsh on you, and your nervous system would react in a very different way, the same way as it's a real life threat. So your brain cannot tell the difference between what is real threat versus what is perceived threat. Is this actually going to happen, or am I making this up? So for your brain, everything is real. Any trigger comes it as a real threat, right? So the moment that real threat comes, all of this kicks in. Your heart rate increases, and your brain is sending all the chemicals to your body, and your body is ready to fight for an attack. That's what it happens. But on the other hand, when the danger passes and everything, and your body calms down, and and then your parasympathetic response is activated, which is our rest, digest, and reset mode. So you're basically every night your body goes into parasympathetic to heal, to restore all of it. But sometimes when we are constantly operating on a very high frequency, then our new norm becomes the sympathetic. So sometimes it gets difficult for body to, like, people wake up with, especially recently I've been seeing is like there is so much of anxiety because of layoffs, right? People wake up in the middle of the night with all that stress and anxiety. There are panic attacks, kids having panic attacks, mental health problems, because they are not able to reset. They're not able to reset from here, and they're always on here. So even if they go to sleep, they'll wake up in the middle of the night with that stress and anxiety because this system hasn't turned off yet. It's still perceiving that threat. And when an animal is under threat, what does an animal do? Right? When a lion is attacking, it will try to run, fight, flight, whatever it can do to save its life. And when the animal is gone, the lion is gone, it will just shake off vigorously. It will shake it off, it will shed off that stress, and it will let go, and life will come back to normal. But what happens with us humans is we do not find that opportunity to shake it off. And we hold it internally. We internalize all our stress. We internalize it in our thoughts, in our emotions, and we store it in our nervous system. So this stress that is stored in our nervous system over a prolonged period of time about the perceived danger of threat that can happen, right? This stores like black bags in our energetic body. So what does black bag mean, right? So your energetic body, there's a flow of prana, right? The energy flow. So their energy flow starts blocking. There is a blockage in your, and where does it store? It in your nervous system, in your physical body, right? So there are blockages. And then that prana flow doesn't reach to all the organs. That leads to health problems. Somebody has, some stomach digestion issues. Somebody has heart issues. Somebody has pancreas issues. Somebody has liver issues or lungs issues, whatever. So basically dis-ease means that part of the body is not at ease. And each emotion is stored in a different body part for different reasons. So when that energy flow is not flowing, so when we are born, that we are completely open channel. All of our energy flows are like completely flowing through, and a child has a full vitality. But as we go through life, our vitality starts to diminish because we have unprocessed stuff stored within our body, and that energy is not reaching that channel. Our heart is blocked somewhere, or our, we are blocking our expression, so there are different things. So, and all the stress that we are holding, and all the environmental conditions and everything else. So that's what is all impacting it. So basically our nervous system, controls our stress response, our emotions, our reactivity, our heart rate, our breathing patterns, digestion, sleep, energy levels, you name it, it's the operating system of your body. So that's what it is controlling. Yeah. So, and the thing is that you cannot, your nervous system is autonomic. That's what they call autonomic nervous system. That means you don't have a conscious control over it. आप अपने दिमाग से, like, you cannot work from your mind and say this is I can change, right? So it will not respond to logic. Like if you are in a fear state, no matter, you cannot train your brain to tell your brain that, oh no, but there is no perceived threat, because it's a subconscious behavior acting out, and that's how your body will respond. So it responds to the signals that it's getting from the brain, and brain is holding conscious and unconscious stuff right there. So also I wanted to touch base a little bit on brain waves. So these are the brain waves, the primary brain waves. There's one more, gamma, which is not shown here. So, beta is your normal waking state. So right now you're in a beta brain state, where we are awake, we are doing all the problem solving and everything else. But then high beta is when we are in a peak performance, when you're working on something, that's your high, because it's your alert state. So it's also the state when we are in our sympathetic response, fear, fight, flight. I have to solve this problem. I have to work on this challenge. You are in this state, because you're on your peak performance. You have to get through the situation. So, and it's also high stress state. So what happens is, and most high performers, especially here with Bay Area culture, most of us, when we are working, when we are operating on that frequency, we are in this state, so, but when we are continuously on this state, as I mentioned, it gets difficult for brain to reset, so, and what happens is, so let me talk about these two brain states as well. So alpha, theta, and delta. So alpha is when you're relaxed, when it's peak creativity, when you're working on your favorite thing in the world, when you're working on an art project where you're super enjoying, there's no pressure of the world and you're just diving into it, right? You're in alpha, you're enjoying that. When you're in dancing, that you're enjoying, right? So when you're about to, or when you're preparing to sleep, right? That's also alpha. And then theta is a state when you're about to fall asleep, just between wakefulness and sleep. So theta is also said to be the doorway between the conscious and subconscious. So that's that state. And delta is a rest and recovery, complete rest and recovery. It's a deep sleep state. So that's what happens, right? So when we're operating constantly, which most of us here in the Silicon Valley culture are operating on high beta most of the times. And when we do not allow ourselves to reset, then we stay stuck in these brain states. So what happens is, when we start to do the breath work, meditation, or nature hikes, or, that's when we switch into alpha. But theta can be accessed consciously through meditation and breath work, so that's why a little bit about brain waves here. And another thing that I wanted to share is, like, our culture, so we all have, or we also enjoy, like, the culture of being high, right? We're chasing our next dopamine hit. So we value highs, we value achievements and experiences and something to do about it. Like, slowing down feels boring, right? Meditation feels boring, because, like, who will spend time to meditate? But we are always chasing high, and this constant high makes us feel alive, and there's a lot of excitement and fun and partying and alcohol and everything else. But it's not so good for your nervous system. It keeps the nervous system activated. And when we are young, and when we are in our early 20s, and so we can party all night long, and and have a sleepless next day or a hangover, and then we go through that system. But as we start to age, our nervous system really needs moments of rest and relaxation to be able to bring it to its baseline, to be able to restore it. So this is something that I really loved about Bali, was that the culture of how they celebrate healing, how they celebrate wellness, So the ability, our ability to slow down, our ability to rest, and our ability to give ourselves the permission to truly feel, that happens when you are consciously allowing yourself to be in spaces where you feel safe and secure, to allow yourself to express what's going on and allow those emotions to be witnessed. So because when we're constantly running in our life, we do not allow that processing to happen. So one of the most valuable lessons that I learned was in Bali was how to connect without an agenda, how to connect with people without an agenda. And that's the culture that they really celebrate. And I have been hearing about this loneliness pandemic here in Silicon Valley, because what we're doing is we're always trying to work on our stuff by ourselves, right? Whatever. I mean, everybody goes through life, ups and downs in different ways. And we highlight our achievements, right? Like the social media, we highlight our achievements and we process our down stuff in isolation by ourselves. वो हमारा काम है. Like this is what I'm going through life, and this is not for me. So there's a lot of dogma around, or not dogma, but it's also like we don't feel safe to be able to be vulnerable in communities, right? Or in friend circle, because we always have to portray that all is well, everything is good. So that's the difference. What I found there was like really having the access to these spaces where you can completely let go and be authentic and vulnerable. And what happens is that when we allow ourselves to co-create these spaces, then co-regulation happens. So co-regulation is like, I'm going through life, you're going through life, and when we come to the space where I provide you to be yourself and to really hear you out, what you're going through, your nervous system automatically relaxes. Everything else is just released. And there is nothing like, I'm just fully present here for you. And when you do that same for me, I feel valued and seen and everything else. And then my nervous system processes along with that. And that's the lost art of being human, that we are just going from one thing to another thing to another thing, that we really do not slow down to really be present with each other, yeah. So that's what that's the whole spiel of what my key learnings were. And the process for nervous system mastery really starts with awareness. So noticing first what is happening within you. Why are you getting triggered? What's going on underneath the surface, right? And then the second thing comes is regulation. Once you understand there's something going on within, and then you use the tools to regulate your inner state, and I'll share some tools here. And then is the resilience, because the resilience is built through practice. And through practice, your nervous system starts to regulate, and that becomes your new baseline, right? And then comes the expansion part, where you are living in that state, where you access that joy, creativity, and purpose on a consistent basis, because that's your new baseline. It's not getting triggered every time. So any questions? I'll take a pause before I go further. Any comments, any feedback, any?
This is Rohit.
Hey, Rohit, tell me.
Thanks for your work. It's really brilliant. Thank you. And I think 20 minutes into the presentation, you hit upon a wonderful thing when you spoke of the autonomic nervous system comprising of the parasympathetic and the sympathetic nervous system. When you pointed out to us one of the most important things, thanks for revealing it to us, that this is something we don't have control over per se, but right, it is happening. So we are counting on you to help us cross that threshold, right? To
Yeah.
cross that, because we need to have some semblance. And I suspect you will be taking us through that at some point. Maybe not tonight, but at some other point.
Yeah. So, yeah, stay tuned. Let's see what we all cover tonight. And then I have something for this after this, too.
And lastly, at the 27th minute, thanks for slowing it down. It'll calm down our nervous system as well.
Okay. Wonderful. Am I going too fast?
It was a little bit, but you got it
Ah,
now. You're
okay.
falling in the right rhythm now for sure.
Okay. Okay. Perfect. Yeah,
We're all
I
learning.
am a fast speaker. So thank you for letting me know that. Yeah.
Okay.
I
Thank you.
Okay. Perfect. Perfect. Okay. So, yeah. So let me slow down a little bit. And thank you, Rohit, for your feedback. So yeah. So and what I wanted to share was that we cannot skip the steps or the order. Awareness comes first because without awareness, yeah, and then we cannot think our way out of our subconscious patterns. These are the things that we have to process, and practice is the key to transformation. So, talking about a first step, awareness, the first step to transformation. So awareness, like you cannot change what you're not aware of, right? We cannot release or heal if you're not even aware of what's going on in there. So I think awareness is the first step because it creates choice. And awareness for me, my journey of awareness started through meditation, because when we start to meditate, we're stilling and we are really witnessing our thoughts, and that allowed me to really witness my reactive patterns in my thoughts. And and through meditation there comes a point where you get that capability of noticing what's rising within before you react. And sometimes there is little pause that you get, and sometimes not if you're in that reactive or alert state, activated state. But yeah, so awareness helps us with that, and getting clear on our intentions, recognizing our stress patterns, and understanding what our body is communicating. Because really, this nervous system mastery is really tuning in within our body to understand where is this emotion stored in, where that reactivity came, where did that trigger happen. It's really tuning in into your somatics, your your physical body. And this was very new for me when I went to Bali, because everything was about embodied experience. And I could tell where are these patterns stored within me. There was a time when I had to do a presentation. I had to lead a group there, and everybody is new, so I felt threatened. My nervous system contracted, and I felt like somebody is holding my throat, because all of my contraction was in my throat. And I had not felt it in my throat in that way before. So that was very new. So for me, all the things that I became more in tune to my body. Yeah. So, and then it's also, awareness is also, it's observing without judgment. What happens is, the moment we sometimes get a trigger from the outside world, we're like, oh, why am I thinking this? I am not should be thinking this. I should be moving on. I am not la la la. We go into the stories of self-judgment, or it is not positive, or why da da da. But it's okay. It's just to stay there, be present with that awareness. What is the story telling me? What is this trigger telling me? Where is it coming from? And what beliefs do I hold, or what is the underneath stuff that I haven't really looked into? And sometimes what happens is, especially for me, when I started doing this work, I realized that some of the underlying stuff is not even mine. It is my parents' beliefs or my ancestral stuff that I haven't processed, or fears of survival. And so it was really good for me to witness when I witnessed it without judgment. Otherwise, what would happen is like, nope, I have to reframe it. I have to do this. I have to do something. So self-awareness is all about really understanding your own emotions, thoughts. And that's where, when we start, it's journey of self so understanding your own self. But when we start understanding our own self, then we can work with it. So the tools. So what are our tools to use? So number one tool is chanting or humming. That chanting or humming will help activate our vagus nerve. So vagus nerve is a nerve that's connected from your brain to your spinal cord, and that it signals, when it's activated, it signals to your body, all is well, all is nice, everything is good, life is a blessing. So it will send out that signals to your body. So when we start to hum or chant or singing, that gets activated. Meditation also activates vagus nerve, but the easiest is chanting or humming. Yeah. The second one is somatic movement, and I'm calling it embodied somatic movement. So that means moving without an agenda, moving without performative, not a dance class, not a this thing that I have to match the steps, but put on some music and just allow your body to feel and move with the flow and however your body wants to move. And when you do that, you allow your emotions to move through your body, So, and it's a solo internal work. So during a Mahashivratri session, we had ecstatic dancing DJ, but it turned out to be a group thing. So it was not a solo inner journey. That was my intention. But maybe in future ones, I would love to host some ecstatic dancing nights or experiences where we can truly just put on the music, maybe a blindfold eye mask, and just allow ourselves to move. And that you can do it at your home, your own pace too. Just put on your favorite music and just feel and move however it does. So what happens is, I learned about fascia. We used to have these teachers who were osteopaths or, therapists and other people, and they used to come and bring in a lot of different knowledge. So I learned about fascia. So fascia is like a very thin, transparent layer of tissue that envelopes all our organs together. So if you have seen chicken, I don't know if a raw chicken. So raw chicken has this transparent, translucent, like a sticky jelly kind of a thing on top of it. So that's fascia, and our emotions are actually stored in fascia. That's something new that I learned there. That all our emotions, unprocessed stuff, is stored in a fascia, and when we move, allow ourselves to move, that's when the fascia starts releasing. It starts stretching. It starts, So any kind of movement helps fascia, but through diaphragmatic breathing, when we are doing like diaphragmatic breathing, when we are doing that activation of the breath and we moving our diaphragm, that is connected to the fascia here. Like you can see, it's the connected. Most of the connections are in here. That automatically starts moving fascia, and it starts releasing stuff, stored energy stuff. And another thing that helps fascia is drinking a lot of water. The more fluid it becomes. So yeah. So just some key tips there. But so embodied movement will help release tension, restriction in fascia and muscles, and allows the emotional expression. So in Bali, when we used to do breath work, we didn't used to start breath work by sitting or anything. We used to start with ecstatic dancing. Everybody used to just be. Sometimes you would put a eye mask or something, and then we used to just move. And 30 minutes of movement or expression or something, and then our body, the energy used to be activated, or there was a more flow of energy, and then we used to get into a breath work. So that was the key. The third tool is the deep diaphragmatic breathing. I used to do breath work before I went to Bali, but it was more like pranayama, alternate nostril, breath this and that. But what I did in Bali was deep diaphragmatic breathing, and it was conscious connected breath. It means there's no pause between your inhale and exhale. You're inhaling and exhaling and inhaling and exhaling, and it's a diaphragmatic breathing, And what it did was, so intentionally we are activating our sympathetic nervous system. right? So they say that breath is the only bodily function that you can consciously control. It's the remote control of your nervous system, right? So we're born with the breath, we die with the breath, right? So inhaling in, we born, and then exhaling out, and that's when we leave our body. So breath is really think of breath as a the remote control for your nervous system. So when we do this conscious connected breath, which is diaphragmatic breathing, we are intentionally activating our sympathetic nervous system, which will take us in a little activated state, which will bring up the stuff, the tension, the things that we're holding within. And then it will also energize you and flood you with a lot of chi and prana. But then after that, we calm down. So there is a rhythm to it. We start first activate and then we calm down. So we go through these cycles again and again. And that helps with, like, suddenly there is stress and then there's release. And it helps body release all that emotional energy, but also reset in a way that you are able to access deeper levels of peace and relaxation on a nervous system level. So that's that. And it also improves HRV, which is your heart rate variability, by doing the conscious breathing. And then it prepares the mind for deeper meditation. So after that, when we used to go in a meditation or a shavasana, our mind used to switch from our conscious stuff to the deeper unconscious stuff, so subconscious stuff. And then insights would be revealed either to the stuff that you're carrying, or anything that is needed for you, for your life, or the patterns of the life. Or another thing I learned, I always used to think that oxygenating our body is really good. Like I was doing the breath work more for oxygenating my body, right, in the past. But what I learned is that actually carbon dioxide retention is very, very important for your body. So when you do inhale, and then we used to do breath works, and then we used to hold. We used to have these breath holds. So the longer you're able to hold your breath, that means that your body can tolerate carbon dioxide longer in your body, So when you're taking in oxygen in, and when we're holding, so all your organs are utilizing that oxygen and leaving carbon dioxide. So how long can your body tolerate the carbon dioxide in your body, internally, will give that nervous system resilience. How resilient are you towards life? If your carbon dioxide tolerance is less, you're more reactive, because it's your internal state. So the more carbon dioxide tolerance means that you're able to have more resilience, more tolerance, more this thing. So that was something new for me. I never knew that. That also helps in oxygen delivery to different organs when we have more tolerance for carbon dioxide. And then we are able to have less stress and more healing as well. So I'll take a pause here. Any questions? We have a couple more slides to go. Okay, moving
I was just thinking how that happens. I know you told me when you came back, but my brain is thinking hey, if the body is able to hold the carbon dioxide more, how is it?
There is you guys can Google, and there's a BOLT test, BOLT, BOLT test. We used to BOLT test, and we used to do this. We used to put tapes on our mouth, and then we used to hold our breath, and then we used to take steps, and I can share it in the group too, maybe. So we used to take steps, and then we used to count how many steps or how many minutes are we able to hold it. So they say BOLT, so how many steps can I take after I hold my breath? If you're 15 seconds, 15 steps, or, so 15 is a good number. But if you're able to hold less than 15, that it means that your carbon dioxide tolerance is not too much. So 15 is the average. 15 to 20 is a good average. If you have 20 and above, it's great. But if you have, you can hold your breath only for 15 to 20, that is average. And then less than that is that you should work on it. And the things how you can work on it is you can have a paper bag, you can breathe into it, or there are a lot of gadgets and tools in the market to build your lung capacity and breath work training.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a small comment over there. The Wim Hof technique that you introduced allows us to practice that how much time you can hold from 30 seconds till even advanced level of 2 minutes also, right? But that really helped us when we were doing our Kailash Yatra. And what you just mentioned there, holding the carbon dioxide inside and that improving the oxygen delivery is the I mean that itself explains the Wim Hof technique in a way for me now, and it truly helped us during Kailash Yatra. I just wanted to resonate that.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
beautiful.
but
Yeah,
it's a very good explanation that you just gave. It
right.
makes sense scientifically also
Yeah.
now.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. So moving on. So breathwork, some guidelines for you all, and as if you want to practice it on your own at your home. So there are three gears to breath. And I would say is go slowly. If somebody has done Wim Hof and other breathwork, then you are on an advanced level. But if you are starting out, just start slow. So the first gear is inhaling in through the nose, exhaling out it's not very activating, it's very calming, but it's a conscious connected, no pauses in between, right? And the second one is nose inhale and exhale from the mouth. That's the second gear, which will get you a little bit of activation. But if you want more activation of your, energy body, it's mouth inhale and mouth exhale. That is Wim Hof. Like he does, so that's where yeah. So and if you feel too activated and it's just going too much, then you can slow down, you can switch from mouth to nose, or so these are the three gears. And during the breath work, it's very, very important to listen to your own body. Sometimes and I'm guilty of this. Sometimes I'm just so much looking for that activation and reaching into bliss state or something. I don't know what was I chasing, but I would do a lot of inhale and exhale and get a lot of activation, and that can sometimes derail us, which is not so good. So having a gradual progression, whatever your body can handle, is the best way to go. And know that you're always in control of your experience because you have these three gears. And slow down, return. The goal is not to push harder. The goal is to train your body over the period of time gently through breathwork practice, and slowly your nervous system starts to handle more stuff. And
Yeah, no, you're right. Like, it can also make you dizzy. So a lot of people like they're advising that, hey, start slowly, like, and then build upon that.
right. So what happens when we start, very good point, segue into this. So what happens when we start doing the breath work, this conscious connected breath work, we start feeling lightheaded, sometimes floaty and even spacey, which is dizzy, right? Because now we're oxygenating it and everything, right? So there's oxygen is directly going to your brain, and then your carbon dioxide, everything else is going on in your body. So that's pretty normal, and it's okay to have this feeling. Another thing is when you're doing the inhale in mouth or exhale out mouth, your mouth will feel very dry initially, and that's okay too. I mean, it's not like, oh, I need water or something. You stay with it and you get over it. There will be tingling or buzzing sensations throughout the body because it's the energy flow of prana that is flowing through your body. So that will happen too. Sometimes there is muscle cramping or tightness and some things, because the energy is moving within you. So that's okay too. There can be mild nausea or changes in stomach sensations. It may feel like, if you're taking in too much, like, gagging or something. So slow down. So listen to your body, slow down, see what's working for you, what not. It's really tuning into your own physical body and working along with it. And emotional release is also another part. I witnessed this a lot in my time there. Like everybody was having a lot of emotional releases, so I also had an opportunity to have an emotional release. I was really excited about that. But yeah, so there's the stuff that you haven't processed within comes up to the surface. And that's the point. That's the point. That the things that we are ignoring, when they come up to the surface, it's an opportunity for us to release. So I would say is not to shy away from that emotional release. It's okay. And even sometimes when we're doing the breath work, There might be a scream that wants to come out. I've attended Sadhguru's events, and I've seen people screaming on the top of their voices when they were doing the breath work. And initially, I used to think like, "What's going on?" But now, going through this course, I understand it's an emotional release that's coming up for you. So it's okay if you want to scream, if you want to shout, if you want to let go of whatever anger, frustration you were holding within and you were not able to express earlier. Do that in your breathwork session. Crying is very common. It all comes up. Yeah, and there's sometimes I have witnessed people like in my session when I was leading there, they were moving and stretching or shaking, and sometimes everything like the body's acts in a different way. So the goal is to really allow all of that to happen. It's not to restrict your body in any way in that moment. Just allow it, because that release, like I said, an animal under attack, and after an attack and when the danger is past, what does it do? It just shakes it off. So if that comes up for you, it's an opportunity to release. So yeah. And what shifts with the regular practice? The tensions that you've carried, the unresolved emotional baggages that you've carried starts to release. Those knots, those blockages that we are carrying within, they start to open up. Our heart starts to open up. We start feeling lighter, and when our internal energy state shifts, our life outside starts shifting. The arguments that would escalate, trigger you or something in the past starts to fizz out. They don't hold that much importance for you anymore, and you'll see your reactivity patterns will change. And you start operating your life from a place of inspiration rather than from fear. I don't care what the other person thinks. Let them be. Let them think whatever they think. I am creating my own reality, right? So old stuff starts to dissolve, and calm starts to become your new default. And life, relationships, things, how everything starts to shift. That's what at least I have personally witnessed in my own life. So, and then the tool number 4 is meditation. So meditation is, basically just sitting with our awareness and witnessing. And there are so many ways to meditate. There's so many things. You can meditate on your own, or you can meditate through guidance. But what happens in meditation is, as I mentioned, we become aware of our internal patterns, thought patterns. Our nervous system starts to calm down, and our brain state changes. So I told you initially we were in, so this is a brain state which is high beta. And when we sit down to meditate, when we still down ourselves, our brain states changes from beta to alpha to theta to delta, wherever it takes you, right? And then all those high stress chemicals that are produced in this brain state, which is high cortisol or adrenaline, that starts to shift. So internal brain chemistry starts to shift when we start to meditate. Your brain starts producing all the feel-good hormones, the dopamine, the serotonin, the oxytocin, all those feel-good hormones are released in your body. And then your amygdala, right, it starts to regulate and it starts to calm down. So it really changes your internal brain state in that way. And the meaning that you give to life automatically starts shifting when a brain state changes. And in this, so meditation for me has helped in so many ways, but I would also like to say is that this should not be the reason to chase meditation, but it does open up doorways to subconscious and transcendental states. That has been another thing why yogis and spiritualists, right? If that's your calling. So yeah, but one red flag here: if you're experiencing severe anxiety or depression or mental health challenges, then meditating by yourself can feel overwhelming. So because if there is so much stuff going on in there, then I highly recommend that you either work with someone or go for a therapy, or breath work would be better, because there is, working with the breath and not just with the mind.
Just want to add one thing. Can you go back to the slide?
Yes, please.
Yes. So amazing, like you picked up this right one, which shows these blue inside, these, when basically this is like a neuron thing which is connected, and it all does blue. And breath work does this, like you're talking about. There's a whole concept of methylene blue intake these days. And I was listening to Chase Hughes, who I listen to a lot, and he was talking about saying that, hey, people are looking for external substances because when the neurons get this blue or they become blue, all of this what you're talking about like gets kind of activated. It's like, I mean, another way to say like it's like, hey, taking a pill versus like, hey, doing the real thing. So you don't really have to take all of those external things. I mean, just breath itself can do all of that stuff to your brain and neurons.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. Absolutely.
methylene blue.
Cool, cool, cool. Yeah, I mean, there's so much going on in the longevity space. So many things and substances are coming out. It's hard to keep up. Yeah. But I would say is your body has, it's the whole chemistry inside it to give you that bliss. So you don't need to chase alcohol or drugs or anything else for that bliss. Just generate your own. Yeah, and this is just a small thing, like, yeah, how meditation helps you move from your conscious patterns into your subconscious, into your unconscious mind, and how the things are revealed. So, and then the fifth tool is vibrational sound healing. In the vibrational sound healing, it's like I use crystal sound bowls, and that's my favorite tool. I use shakers, crystal sound bowls, and drums. What happens is that all of these vibrational frequencies, you don't have to do anything. You just have to be in the presence of that music, and all those vibrational frequencies just heal you on its own. They bring your body back into resonance with the frequencies that are being, played. So I'm introducing yourself to really high metal or, highly activating music, rather than when you shift to different kind of music, it has a different effect on your body. So sound vibration penetrate deep into the tissue that aids in chakra balancing. So, yeah. And then the last tool or sixth tool is the ice bath immersion. So we used to do this like almost every 2 days. And initially, first time when I went into ice, I freaked out. My fight and flight kicked in. Yeah. So I was panicking. I was like, oh no, I can't do this. And my teacher actually taught me how to get into ice with conscious awareness. And second time I did it, and the third time I was like, what was I afraid of? There was unperceived danger, like something will happen and everything. And when I went into that ice and I started the deep breath in there, I realized how the shift happens, how you build your inner resilience to your breath. With your breath, you start building that inner resilience. And now when something activating comes, I just immediately go back to that memory of breathing in and out. So ice bath is really popular with CEOs and all the athletes and everybody in the wellness industry, because it has so many health benefits. It reduces pain and inflammation in your body. It improves your blood circulation, right? Increases immunity, weight loss, right? It boosts your energy, boosts your mental state, boosts your emotional state. It just gives a boost after coming out of that. And one thing I realized that this is shared, that doing every day, like in India, they say, oh, I shower every day in cold bath, and doing every day becomes your new norm, then it doesn't help that much or with all the benefits. Because the goal is to activate that sympathetic response and then allowing the body to, because that's when all your immune responses are kicking. So shocking your body and then sitting in that for it. And 2 minutes is a good enough time to allow for this immersion. What else? On ice bath. Yeah. Yep. Right. And then this is the last tool. The last tool, what I said initially, was co-regulation in a community, because healing happens when we have a psychological safety to be ourselves and a safe space to be seen, to be heard, to be witnessed by like-minded people. And I learned about authentic relating, and this was really beautiful work that we did there. Authentic relating. So I understood the communication happens on 3 levels. First level of communication is informational. Well, this is informational communication, what is happening. It's very bidirectional. I'm throwing information at you, you are sitting and absorbing, right? So, or if I'll come and ask you, how are you? And you'll say, I'm good. Oh, what do you do? I do this. How are you? Oh, I live in Milpitas. I do this, I do this, right? So this is very informational exchange, which is most of our culture here in Silicon Valley is. We are very informational based, right? Basic data exchange. But the second kind of communication is personal and emotional, which is most of the times when we do with our family, with our friends, with our, in that we talk about our feelings, we talk about our values, and this is, I'm going through, you will say, I'm going through this, oh, I'm going through this, I'm going through this, and then, you talk about your struggles and everything else. So that's the second type. The third type of communication, which is really, really powerful and effective, is called relational. Relational communication, which has an element of mindfulness in it. Because to be able to hear someone, you have to really be present with them. So when somebody else is sharing, you're not waiting for an opportunity to speak. Like, what do I say? You are totally being present with them and just witnessing them, witnessing their whole being as they're sharing, and really making that eye contact and hearing their words out. And then when they finish sharing, you don't say, now this is my opinion about it, this is what you should do, this is, I have tips for you, I have advice for you, la la la. But rather, what you say is, this is what I heard. This is what I heard, and this is what I witnessed. So that is a doorway that opens for someone else. Like, what? You see me? Most of the times, even in relationships, sometimes we are trying to say something and the other person is not even able to perceive us because it's all done through the head. So when we really bring our whole awareness and our hearts into a conversation and we really listen from that place and then we repeat and we witness them, that's where healing happens. And that's what creates co-regulation. I get to co-regulate with that person's. That's what most therapists do, maybe, the moment they get to witness that, their thing is resolved. The moment that that emotion processing happened in that, because somebody validated their world, right? They were seen, heard, and valued in that, and that's healing. So that connection itself is very healing. Yeah. So yeah. So yeah, cultivating all of these practices rewire your mind to access calm during high pressure. And yes, Shweta, please go ahead.
Hey, sorry. On your previous slide, I just have a comment and something like I was pondering on even from the beginning. If you go back, yeah. So when you mentioned about this co-regulation in the beginning and also like how we are always in like fight and flight mode every day, running, doing stuff, tons of things going in your hand, and how important it is for us to take breaks. So I've been taking a lot of holidays recently, and the reason is like you've been burning yourself all your life and now feel like you need some time, right? But the point I'm trying to say is the term, you put it very well in the co-regulation, and I've been pondering on something that I got answer to now, which is, so I went for a trip, very recently with my parents to Hawaii. I had a friend with me as well. And, it's a lot of planning going. And even when you're there, okay, this, that, where to go. So 2 days, but you're also in the nature. And like, first day it was raining and we were walking in the rain all day in the rainforest. It was crazy. And then, second day, third day, we were on the beach doing nothing, just sitting. And I'm doing all sort of crazy stuff. Like, I don't remember I've done that in a very, very long time or forever. Like, I was feeling myself. Oh, this is how I used to be when I was young, probably. But it was like just that reset. And I didn't realize in the moment, like, but I felt really happy coming back home that the company with a friend and just like no nonsense, no nothing, no talk, just you're there, and of course my parents. But it is like what the holidays and the nature and resetting yourself can do, which, like so important.
And
So
just
I
have,
just,
yeah,
yeah.
beautiful. And having that presence, just having someone's presence, even without words, right?
Yeah.
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 Yeah, and the thing is that we do take these holidays and breaks and then we go back, but we come back to this world again, right? So having this consistent practice is what will help us sail through so that we don't have to really break away from the world to be able to reset. But if you build these practices in your lifestyle, that they will automatically help you, sustain that even more longer.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, so what are the next steps that I have? So I invite you all to join me in the online experience on Sunday morning at 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. I will be guiding the group through a breath work. It's a free session. Come join. And I'll share the link here for this to register. Let me see. I'll post it in the chat here. All right. Yeah. So, yeah, join me on Sunday morning. Tomorrow we are going for a hike. So if you are in the Bay Area, join me there. We're doing a sun gazing hike. But yeah, and then I'm hosting a mini retreat on June 27th. It's a Saturday. Most likely I'll be hosting it at my home in Milpitas, but I have a friend in Saratoga who has offered his house, and it's a really beautiful property in the redwoods, and they have a jacuzzi and everything, and they were like, we can all do a ice bath here, and it'll be so perfect. So it may also happen in Saratoga, so the location is to be decided. But yeah, so all the tools that I shared, we will go through all of them one by one as a group, as a container, and lunch will be provided. So all you have to do is just show up, and yeah, it will be like a half day, 10 to 3 p.m. retreat where we will do embodied movement. We'll get into chanting and breath work. Then we'll do the meditation, crystal sound baths. I'll bring in all my tools, and then we'll do the circling and integration for that authentic relating in that, and then ice bath immersion. After that, we will all have lunch and community connection with each other. So it'll be so I want to keep it really intimate with a smaller group. So if you're available and interested, join me. The link would be on my Luma page right here. So you can check it out here. And then on Sunday, in person, Park James Hotel has really offered me to be their wellness partner, and I'm really grateful for that opportunity. So on Sundays, I'm planning to bring, these experiences. It's a 1 hour every Sunday at Park James. So if you can join us, we're starting on June 21st, which is Father's Day. It's a free session. The first session is free. Come in, bring your dads, bring your fathers, bring the other guys in your family. Just treat them to this. They're always working too hard. So so we'll go in there. So the going forward, it might be that there might be a drop in price of $35, and monthly subscription of $55. Maybe it will come down to like 4 or 5 sessions, less than $10 to $13. It's a very affordable price in here. So just come in. The intention is to provide community with this practice to keep up with our busy lives. So that's the intention. So if that invites you in some way, feel free to ping me if you have any questions. I'm here for you. And then we have our community gatherings, which is also on our Luma page. So tomorrow we are going for sun gazing hike. And then time to time we offer beautiful humans gatherings. So that's also there. So all is on our Luma page that will be posted. And with that, I'll stop sharing my screen and I open the floor for discussion or questions or. Thank you, Deepak. Thank you so much for the safe space. I don't know. I think this was not the safe space I created. It was a very informational session, and that was the intent of the session because it was a master class. I wanted to share all that I learned. But yeah, join me sometime to really have that safe space experience with the community, because it's not me, it's the community that we all co-create that space. Yeah.
Thanks so much. You did great, by the way. Thank you.
Thank you, Rohit. Thank you.
So much, Sarika. Very
What-
insightful session.
Was it helpful? What's your key takeaway? I would love to hear what was one key takeaway for everyone. What was your aha moment or I learned something new?
I loved all the tools that you shared.
Aha, beautiful.
Yeah. I think you already have all those tools with
Yeah,
you, especially you being
yeah.
in that journey for so long. But but maybe the perspective might have changed after your new learning,
Yes,
right?
yes, yes. And
Yes.
ice bath I never used to. Ice
Yeah.
bath is definitely a new add-on and yeah,
Yes.
perspective. And I think it's more about more of an embodied experience now.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, very insightful, Sarika. Yeah, I also loved all the tools and like the kind of order you explained it. Totally makes sense.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. Grateful
But
that you.
thanks for sharing the knowledge, which you always do. And congratulations on completing your certification and everything. You went through that journey, which is not an easy one. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I was questioning myself, why am I going for this certification? I've been learned about conscious connected breath. Neha, thank you so much for joining. I'm so happy to have you here. Yeah. So I was questioning myself. I'm already doing breath work. I'm already doing, why do I need a certification? But I needed a certification so that because my one part was I did a workshop for a corporate and they were asking me like, are you certified to do this? So that brought my fears like, oh, I've just learned myself. I need a certification. Maybe it'll be good. So I wanted a break also. So I went for the certification. But yeah, that's true. I was doing it, but now it's more of an. I think I never connected with breath at a deeper level as much as I did there.
You just
3 weeks.
wanted to go on a solo vacation. Let's
That's
just say that.
It's a great excuse for having a good break.
yeah. Why not? Why
Why?
not? Yeah, it was Bali was such a bliss. I the only thing I missed there was going there with friends. Like
Uh,
even though I made friends, so I was so one of my friend there, she has a beautiful property. It's so gorgeous, glass rooms with pool and in the rice fields. And I was like, oh my God, you live in heaven. And so I was telling her, no, I would love to bring a retreat here with my friends and my community so that I can take to them to all these experiences I've had here. So hopefully that
The
will
first
happen.
retreat with friends, next retreat with family.
Yeah. Yes.
Mohit is
Happy.
constantly giving you
Mohit,
some tips over there.
Mohit missed me a lot. Actually, I also missed. It was 4 weeks, right? So I was the only part that I missed was family because I was 4 weeks became like 4 weeks. So I was like, I'm missing home. I want to go back home. At the max I've done solo travel is 10 days. So yeah, that part was there. But Mohit is always a Devdas without me.
Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful session. Yeah. Your energy shows it all, actually. Yeah. Your
Thank you.
happiness. Yes.
Yeah.
Keep it up. Yeah.
All
Thank
right.
you so much. I'll drop off, but thank you so much. Thanks, everyone. Good to see everyone as well. I'll connect with you
yeah,
again later.
thanks.
Okay.
Thank
Take
you.
care.
Thanks.
Bye bye. Bye.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you guys. All right. Have a blessed night. Take care. Good night.
Thank you. Thanks, Sarika.
Bye.